the second Christian country following Armenia. And when Muslims feared persecution, Muhammad sent them here. Its followers have lived here ever since for 1400 years. It's the only land never colonized in all of Africa's nations, though they did endure 5 years of Italian occupation. All that Italy left behind was pasta and espresso. Espresso still much beloved, the pasta somewhat less so. But they didn't need an intro to carbohydrates or caffeine. After all, this country first discovered coffee beans. And jumbo pancakes called injera serve as plates and forks. They scoop up tasty stews and meats, but never any pork. Here Christians and Muslims both abstain from eating ham or bacon, and if you think we'll find some here, you're very much mistaken. Many faiths and ethnic groups have made this land diverse, and there are many languages in which they all converse. Tigrinya speak Tigrinya, Oromos speak Oromo, Amharas speak Amharic, and there's many more I don't know. Most are written in Ge'ez, a wavy alphabet, but English is their second tongue, so you can come here yet. You'll stand in all of Aksum's Stele and the Blue Nile Falls. You'll wander Gondar's castle and Harar's medieval walls. You'll climb the Simeon Mountains, where Geladas gaze and chew. You'll see Abyssinian lions in the Addis Ababa Zoo. You'll float to island monasteries on Lake Tana's shore. You'll visit Lalibella's churches carved from roof to floor. So come here and say Tadias to this cradle of mankind. Come visit Ethiopia, a land unique through time. Here's the Lion of Judah, a very important symbol to Ethiopia, represents the old king. And here he's saying Tadias, which means hello in Amharic, and Akam, which means how are you in Oromo. Let's learn more about the language here. It says, this is Ethiopia written in local form in the Ge'ez alphabet. Ethiopia. Each letter is a symbol. It says Ethiopia. Scholars speculate that the name Ethiopia came from the ancient Greek words for sunburned, referring to the darker skin of Ethiopians compared to Greeks. Ethiopia has also been traditionally called Abyssinia in English. Here's the beautiful flag. The Ethiopian flag was the first to use the Pan-African colors of red, yellow, and green when it was designed in 1897. The colors became popular on other African flags as African nations gained their independence from colonial empires. The emblem in the middle was added in 1996 as directed by the new constitution. The blue disc represents peace. The star stands for the unity and diversity of Ethiopia's people, and the rays represent prosperity. Here are the regions of Ethiopia, which actually, this is going to change a bit, I think, later this year. This fantastic name of southern nations, nationalities, and peoples regions is being split up into two. I think I should double check that, to correspond with the main ethnic groups there, because you can see that they're all named after the majority ethnic groups that live in each region. Jewish community from Ethiopia called Beta Israel, who date their history back to the Queen of Sheba. There's a pretty crown here that the emperors would wear. And there she is right there. Let's read this box. Ethiopia became a Christian country during the reign of King Asana, early in the 4th century CE. Ethiopia and Georgia may be tied for the title of second oldest Christian country. Both made it their state religion around 330 CE. Armenia was the first in 301, and the Roman Empire adopted Christianity as their official religion in 391. Today, about 62% of the nation is Christian. There's the cathedral here in Addis Ababa. There's a priest. There's a picture here of Mary and Jesus. During the kingdom of Aksum, which is about 100 to 700 CE, many stelae were erected in Ethiopia to mark burial sites. Stelae are tall, vertical monuments carved from a single stone, similar to Egyptian obelisks. The last stele was erected by King Asana in the early 4th century, but many still stand in Aksum. The grandest mark royal burial chambers and are carved with many stories of false windows and doors like rock skyscrapers. Islam has been in Abyssinia, which is another name for Ethiopia, since the time of the Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad instructed a group of his followers to flee persecution in Mecca, which is now in Saudi Arabia, to seek refuge in the Christian kingdom of Aksum in 615. There have been Muslims in Ethiopia ever since, and they make up 34% of the population today. It's a pretty doorway here to a bright green mosque. And there's another really beautiful mosque here. Every country in Africa was once a colony of a European empire except for Ethiopia and Liberia. Liberia was founded by former American slaves in the 19th century, but Ethiopia has been independent since ancient times. This made Ethiopia a powerful symbol to other Africans and blacks when they were striving to gain independence and equal rights in the first half of the 20th century. In Jamaica, a group of people called Rastafarians came to believe that Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie, who reigned from 1930 to 1974, was the returned Christian Messiah coming to liberate blacks from white oppression and allow them to return to Zion, which to them meant Ethiopia or Africa. Selassie himself continued to be an Orthodox Christian all his life, and Rastafarian beliefs never became popular in Ethiopia. Ethiopians do believe that Selassie and all their monarchs were direct descendants of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Coffee was first discovered in Ethiopia over 500 years ago, and it is now their biggest export. The coffee ceremony is an important rite of hospitality. It starts with laying fresh grasses on the floor, even inside fancy buildings. Next, the coffee beans are roasted and then ground by hand, filling the air with the scent. Finally, the coffee is brewed. In a full ceremony, the same beans are brewed 3 times, and everyone has 3 cups. Women typically perform the coffee ceremony, and in formal settings, they wear a traditional coffee ceremony dress, which is white with colored embroidery. Italy occupied Ethiopia for 5 years, from 1936 to 1941, but never managed to secure more than a small part of the country. You can still see the Italian influence, however, in the abundance of espresso machines throughout the country. Espresso has never replaced the coffee ceremony in popularity, but Ethiopians have learned to appreciate both. Pasta is also still served in Ethiopia, particularly to tourists, but it is not part of the daily diet. This is, though, injera, the staple food in Ethiopia, is like a very large, thin, spongy pancake. Injera is made from teff, a grain that is widely grown in Ethiopia. Typically, injera is served on a large metal plate, and dishes are placed tear off a piece of injera with their right hand and scoop up the dishes to eat. A plate of injera is frequently shared between friends or family. Ethiopians do not eat pork, as both Ethiopia's Orthodox Christian Church and Islam forbid it. Orthodox believers also do not eat meat, eggs, fat, or dairy on Wednesdays and Fridays to commemorate the death of Jesus Christ. As a result, there are many delicious vegan dishes in Ethiopia. Ethiopians are very diverse in terms of the languages they speak and their religion. From the more Christian islands to the largely Muslim East, to the many peoples in the southern nations of the Southwest, all are proud Ethiopians. And we can see many different Ethiopians, different cultures, different languages, different customs, but all Ethiopians. Let's read this one first. Lake Tana is the source of the Blue Nile River and is not far from the Blue Nile Falls. The Blue Nile joins the White Nile in Khartoum, Sudan, to form the Nile River. There are several Ethiopian Orthodox monasteries on the shores of Lake Tana, some of which are over 500 years old. Fishing is a large part of the economy around Lake Tana, and fishermen still use the ancient papyrus reed boats, which are light, quick, and easy to paddle on the water and don't scare away the fish. It says here that woven white shawls and headscarves are popular with both Muslim and Christian women. Ethiopian students must learn English in elementary school to go to high school. High school and university are taught in English so that students from all parts of Ethiopia can go to school together and communicate. The castle in Gondar was built by Emperor Facilities, who reigned from 1632 to 1667. He moved Ethiopia's capital to Gondar, where it continued to be until 1855. The large royal enclosure contains not just the castle but also a palace, library, bathhouse, and churches. It was the home of Ethiopia's emperors until the capital was again moved several times in the late 1800s. Addis Ababa became the capital in 1887. Lalibela is a small town in the mountains of northern Ethiopia that is famous for its 13 monolithic churches built between the 12th and 13th centuries. Monolithic means one stone, that each church was carved out of the mountain from one huge piece of rock. To create the inside and outside of the churches, tons of stone had to be removed. Lalibela was built by King Lalibela in a layout to mimic the city of Jerusalem, which had been recently captured by Muslims. Here you can see two views of the Church of St. George, which is the most famous one. If you see photographs of Lalibela, you're probably seeing this one. So here it is from above. This is ground level, and then you have to go down, and this is the church, and yes, it is all one rock. Isn't that incredible? There's the inside of one. It's a full functioning church. Close relatives of baboons, geladas are the only primate that grazes on grasses as its main food source. They live exclusively in the Ethiopian highlands and are concentrated in the Semien Mountains. The Semien Mountains in northwest Ethiopia are one of the few places in Africa where snow regularly falls. Through history, most Ethiopian art has been religious. Ethiopian churches are known for being covered with bright paintings outlined in black. The paintings are typically of saints and Bible stories, and the figures usually have huge almond eyes. This painting is of Ethiopia's patron saint, Saint George, slaying a dragon. Ethiopia is depicted as the world champion distance runners, including, let me get these names right, Kenenisa Bekele and Haile Gebrselassie. There they are here. From warm savanna to cool green highlands to hot desert lands, Ethiopia has many climates. In the highlands, the weather is spring-like all year, with highs in the 70s Fahrenheit or 23 Celsius, and lows in the 40 to 50s Fahrenheit, which is 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. In the Afar Desert in the north of Ethiopia is an area known as Dalal, one of the hottest places on Earth, which can regularly reach temperatures of 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 49 degrees Celsius. Believed Dalal is the hottest inhabited place on Earth. The hottest ever recorded was Death Valley, but in a part that people don't live in, so this is a place that people still live in today, somehow. Most Ethiopians are farmers and use traditional methods to work the land. Their biggest crops are grains like wheat and teff, and their biggest export is coffee. Look at the camels there in the desert. So also here, they recommend a bunch of music to listen to. There's choir music, a traditional Ethiopian instrument, a six-stringed lyre. Teddy Afro, a popular musician, and they recommend a bunch of songs by other artists. They give you things to look up online, like about Lbaa, Haile Gebrselassie, King of the Kickdown. They give you some books that you can check out. And then we learn how to write in Ge'ez. Up here, there's the Ge'ez, so some of the Ge'ez alphabet, I guess. And a craft on how to make your own angel. That's really sweet. Your own Ethiopian style angel. I think that's the, yeah, but that's the last of it. So that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Write down in the comments below what you think the F country is going to be. There are only 3 countries that start